Hi friends, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I thought I'd talk a little bit today about two different types of practice, Tai Chi practice, two different types of practice that I like to do, and how they relate to each other. And I'm going to quote my YouTube and martial arts friend Adam Chan a little bit in this video. If you haven't seen any of his Kung Fu Report videos, I highly recommend them, especially if you do Wing Chun. But the two types of practice that I like to do, I divide into these categories of explorative and form refinement or system refinement. The system refinement practices are the ones that are well known. That would be like, hang on a second here. Oh, that's better. Turn off that little fan. The explorative the form refinement practice is like going through the forms and the drills and the exercises of whatever your system is. That's, working on posture and alignment and proper sequencing of the kinetic chain in your body, circulating chi if that's your model, health, balance, all the types of things that a system gives you. Explorative practice is more like you on your own within the framework of that system, exploring how does that system or this exercise or this drill feel to you, and how can it work for you? How can it work better? So this is where I'm going to cross over into quoting my buddy Adam Chan here. He talks about teaching a system but not a style. And when he made a video where he said that, it just clicked for me so clearly, because it summed up in a smaller amount of words something that I've been trying to impart over many years, and that is that the system trains the attributes and the techniques that you develop within that style. The system is all the forms and all the drills and all the exercises and all the techniques. But your style does not come from just emulating these exact exercises and styles, or trying to copycat your teacher or his teacher or his teacher or her teacher. The style comes from your own exploration. You have to find your style within them. It's almost like the system is like a jungle gym, and you are taught the correct way to play on each event in the jungle gym or in the playground. But when you go play, you put it together in a way that works for you. If you're, very tall and thin, certain exercises and movements in the playground jungle gym are going to feel better for you. Or if you're short and stocky, or if you're fast, or if you're slow but solid, all those things affect how you play on the jungle gym. So what he says basically is that you teach a system, but the student has to find their style within that system, what works for them. And the way you do this, the way you find your style in any system, is by pressure testing it and finding out for yourself what works and what doesn't work for you. And pressure testing, I think, is something that's really misunderstood. Some people misunderstand pressure testing to mean that you simply take on something that's uncooperative and unpredictable and vanquish it. In other words, your pressure test is this thing that you pass to tell yourself how great you are. Pressure testing, to my mind, is that you should test it till it fails. It's about finding out where it fails, not where it succeeds. So pressure testing a bridge, for instance, for stress doesn't mean you toss a certain amount of weight on it and go, well, yeah, it held that weight fine. It's a good bridge. No, you put weight on it until the stress starts to show. If you don't put enough pressure on a system, you can't see its weaknesses. So in order to find your weaknesses, you pressure test your abilities within that system, and the weaknesses will show. Another mistake that I think people make about pressure testing is that they assume that there's only one level of pressure testing that's good. And that you should pressure test it at the level that they pressure test it, right? So if a guy's a grappler and takes lots of challenges from grappling, he'll say that you should take challenges from grappling. And if a guy is a striker and likes to close distance, he'll say you should take, that's the way to pressure test it. Hit things that are far away really fast. So also the amount of pressure and all that stuff, I guess I would agree in a sense that there is, one kind of pressure testing, but I would say that pressure testing is up to you. In other words, that the best pressure test is the one that pressures your system to respond or to learn at the arena that you want to express this in. Mixed martial arts pressure testing on your Tai Chi, when you're doing it to rehab shoulder injuries, or when you're doing it to relax or feel more connected to your body and the environment around you, doesn't make any sense. So I would say the correct amount of pressure testing is the pressure testing that shows you what you need to learn and what you can improve, where your weaknesses are, given the arena that you want to express your Tai Chi in. If you're a daily life practitioner, then some things that you can do to pressure test your own Tai Chi is to, by yourself, you can add more weight to what you're doing. You can do the form with light hand weights, or if you're doing Bagua, you can hold weighted balls in your hands, or you can wear a weight vest. You can focus on more one leg stuff. How much time do you spend on one leg? That stresses your balance and your system more. See how long you can stand on one leg. Do it to failure. Do it to where you have to put the other foot down. And do that every day for just a week, and your balance will improve, because pressure is how we learn, right? You can do variations within the move, or challenge yourself to do the movements in different orders, or emphasize a mirror image version of your form. There's all kinds of ways you can pressure test these solo exercises to be more workable for you. Martially, of course, if you're going to pressure test your Tai Chi to be more martially effective, then you need more and more difficult partners, and more and more partners, and also more and more difficult partners, right? But back to daily life, you can hold yourself to a higher standard of grace and balance in your daily life. That pressure tests your footwork, your distance management with people all day, your posture all day. How does it feel to be in your body? Don't just turn off your awareness of your body until your practice, but think of your whole day as a Tai Chi practice. Those are ways you can pressure test your Tai Chi for daily life. So remember, pressure test means test to failure, test to weakness exposure. So if you're examining your daily life and putting more pressure on yourself to be more graceful and coordinated, anytime you knock something over or bump into something or whatever, that's a crack, that's a weakness. You wouldn't see that if you weren't pressure testing yourself necessarily with awareness, like watching your day and seeing how you behave and how you operate, right? So that pressure brings awareness of weaknesses and things that you can improve, or at least study and try to work on. So you develop your style, I would say, through these two practice modes. In other words, form refinement develops your attributes that your particular system values, or hopefully that you value. So you train your system in order to refine that form and develop those attributes. But explorative practice that's where you pressure test it, that's where you stand more on one leg, you experiment, you test, you explore within the movements. There's all kinds of variations and subtle things within movements, so you don't want to get stuck in the straitjacket of a form. You want to feel like within that form you are ready to go anywhere. Because Tai Chi is about being ready. Balance is all about readiness to adapt to the next change. So if you want to keep your body in balance, you'd better be ready to adapt to the next change. And of course, martial arts and fighting and stuff is a very high level of change, and things are coming at you super, super fast. So it all depends on what level you want to do that. So the explorative practice sometimes gives me ideas about form refinement practice, things that I need to work on. So I may explore and pressure test something and realize, oh, my balance isn't so great on one leg or the other right now. So then I go back when I do my form refinement practice. When I get to a kick, say, on that leg, I might repeat it 2 or 3 times and really feel into the balance components of that move, and develop a better sense of it from having tested it in a sense, but or found out about it during the explorative practice. So the explorative practice has no agenda. It's just about listening. Well, no picky agenda, no specific agenda. It's just about listening and exploring ranges of movement, putting pressure on things, seeing where the breaks are. It's not about nailing anything, you know, any form points. Form refinement is. Form refinement is about nailing it, about being at the right place at the right time for the right amount of time and the right effect, all that stuff. But life happens way too fast for forms. Way too fast for forms. So you have to develop attributes that you can improvise with in real time and find the level that suits you. Personally, I practice almost totally for daily life, but there's lots of martial opportunities within daily life. Martial meaning self-protective, not necessarily combative. I do a little bit of martial pressure testing with pads and stuff, but that's just developing more tools. It doesn't mean you know how to fight if you can hit something really hard. It's nice to be able to hit something very hard. If you've never been in a fight but you know how to hit something really hard, you'll be much better shape going into a fight than never having been in a fight and not knowing how to hit something really hard. So tools are great. I love tools. But I'm 65 and I don't hope to get in a fight anytime soon. So, all right, so your explorative practices can lead to more form refinement practice, which can lead to more explorative practice, because you'll learn something, you work on it, pressure test it, explore it, see how it works for you, martially, daily life, solo, see how it works for you, find its weaknesses, shore them up. More form refinement will develop more attributes, more explorative practice will steer you towards what form refinements you might need to do to develop more attributes. So there's a cycle there, a dialogue, synergistic, Tai Chi, balance-like conversation. So those are two forms of practice that I like to do and get conversing with each other. One last point to add, if you are inclined to indulge in a little intoxicant, like a glass of wine or two, or a hit off a joint or an edible or whatever, if you like to practice in slightly intoxicated and see how that, I don't mean impaired, you know, but like how that affects your practice. It's, in my experience, it's much, much better for explorative practice than for form refinement practice. If I have an agenda that I want to practice, like I want to do so and so many reps of something, or so and so, or hit a certain, you know, form in a certain way, or develop a, you know, I just have an agenda. I want to get through section this, section that. I want to practice my sword. I want to do this. That's not usually the best time to be under the influence of anything. However, if I want to do a more open-ended explorative practice, like if I just want to stand and float my joints and listen to what kind of movements are feeling better or worse in my body right now, or what might need to loosen, or what might need to connect, or if I want to explore how Tai Chi affects the way I throw a ball, if I want to get into the more creative, explorative part of practice, sure, hit a joint before that. It helps. It makes it easier and more fun. Just have a piece of paper or a computer keyboard nearby, or a voice recorder, because you're going to get some great ideas, and then forget them. So yeah, I've got many great ideas in an explorative state under some influence of cannabis, but when I have a form refinement kind of practice where I want to drill this and nail this, sober is much better. Yeah, because the cannabis ups your sensory input as far as how important it is to you, and so your mind wants to explore that input, and it loses track of your agenda that you wanted to do 40 push-ups and you wanted to do 6 reps of a certain palm change or form or something. So if you got an agenda, I recommend sober practice, or especially if you're young and you're training your basics. Yeah, don't even bother with explorative practice too much. Start with the system, learn the system, and then you can start branching out as you get more into it. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can, I have a little tip jar all over my website and all over my YouTube channels and whatnot, but donations are not necessary. It's always nice to get one, but if you know, you just like this and find it helpful, it's always nice to hear from you in a comment. So take good care, breathe deep, and we'll see you soon.